right, what do you got, Ant?
What do I got? I decided to talk about Eric the Red and the Greenland colony.
Oh, did I ever tell you about Blue Land?
Blue Land?
Yeah, everyone is blue there. I have a blue house and a blue window.
Really?
Oh, they made a song about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blue, da ba
Yeah.
dee da ba da.
Have you guys heard the new remix of that?
Isn't it like always remixed?
Someone took that song and put new lyrics to it,
Oh,
How
really?
would you do that?
like for the Zoomers.
What are they?
no, not this.
They're like, I'm having the time of my life instead of I'm blue abadi abada.
What?
Yeah, it's
So they
terrible.
mix like 2 songs?
It's like you've run out of ideas when you're doing
Oh.
I'm blue.
I've seen that. Yes, it's I'm
Having
Good
the time of my
by BB
life.
Rexa, fellow Staten Islander,
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Connville High School graduate.
All roads lead back to Staten Island.
Yeah. I'm good. Yeah, I'm feeling all right,
Yeah.
baby. I'ma have the best fucking night of my life. Yeah. Okay.
You just made me want to quit life.
Yeah.
I've heard this.
They've run out of ideas. They're doing
Yeah,
I'm
it's
blue.
just-
Well,
Yeah.
dude, the song is 30 years old. It's like when people in the 90s would sample 60s shit.
But it's not sampling 60 shit. It's straight up just stealing the vocal line and song.
Yeah.
It's not the same song.
It's a reimagining.
Right?
It's a reimagining.
It's not, though. It's just
slightly.
it's sheer
It's just changing the
robbery.
lyrics.
This is Led Zeppelin levels of thievery.
Yeah, they were bad. Which I think maybe one day we can do that, like just how brutal Led Zeppelin were thieves.
Were they?
They used to,
dude. They're like really bad with it.
I mean, I don't know the particulars of it, but they would just like rip off other bands.
Like the blues shit?
Constantly.
the blues
yeah.
shit, yes, and like Stairway to Heaven is like a forgery.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what, though?
They shouldn't have the
It's a
fame,
damn good
you know?
forgery.
Yeah, I mean, who would you rather hear do it? Fucking muddy asshole from the Delta or
Led
Zeppelin?
Zeppelin.
Muddy asshole.
They're like, this is good, but you are incapable of playing it.
It's like here is a badass rock band making this song amazing, and then there's like some guy from 1903 going, I'm down
Yeah,
in the blues.
Just bad recording.
I love your rendition.
And like you could kind of hear the notes,
Right.
but it's mostly just
Right, with a horrible, like, not real microphone.
It's not even a microphone.
So yeah, I'm going to talk about Eric the Red now.
Sweet.
You guys
What
have
about
heard-
Johnny the Blue?
Who's Johnny the Blue?
You just did blue.
He sucks a lot of dick.
Good save.
That didn't go where you thought it was going.
Good save. It was a good save.
After he passed through town, they're like, Johnny the Blue is
Is there any better saves than dick jokes? I don't think so.
No. That's the
That's a
go-to.
go-to. All right, what do you got about Eric the Red?
You guys have heard of Eric the Red,
I
right?
have, yeah.
Yes.
Yes. He's got a famous son.
Who's
Eric
son?
the Red or Leif,
Leif.
Erickson?
Leif Erikson.
Leif is his
Spon-
son.
SpongeBob famously celebrates his birthday.
SpongeBob?
Yeah. Happy Leif Erikson Day.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
makes a big
nice.
thing of it.
Well, we're all about learning on this show, and now you learn.
Now I've learned about.
But tell me about Eric the Red. Tell me about Greenland. Tell me about that.
I will.
Do you consider it an island or a continent?
I consider it the 52nd state.
It's an island. It's the world's
It's an
largest
island country, yeah, but you could argue.
It's not a country, really. It's owned
Kind
by
of.
the Danes. Denmark owns Greenland.
They're going to sell it to us.
Hopefully.
at a cheap price.
So Eric
And
Thorvald's
Mexico's going
son,
to pay for it.
because that was what he was known as first, Thorvald's son.
Thorvald's son?
Yes, the son of Thorvald.
Thorvald.
Was born in 950 in Norway.
Okay.
And at some point,
How do they know the time? That's so specific.
because they wrote down this thing called the Greenland sagas, which
No,
is
but like 9:50. That's such a specific time of the day. Not like 9:45, 9:55, 9:50.
God damn it.
All right, I'm sorry.
God damn it. That was.
At
that
some point
hurts.
early in his life, Thorvald, Eric's father, got himself involved in some kind of blood feud
Okay.
and was forced to flee Norway.
He got in one little fight, and they got scared.
And said, "You're moving all the way to Iceland to get away from everyone." So they crossed the sea, and they moved to Iceland.
Iceland's
How come
great.
he don't want me, man? But he did it in a Viking way. How come he don't want me, man?
Yeah, no emotion, just deadpan.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't hug, he just shakes
and
his
then
hand.
plunges an axe into someone's skull. So they go and they're living in the shitty part of Iceland.
There's a
Okay.
good part.
Yes. Iceland at this time has been colonized for a little bit of time
By
at
the
this point.
Vikings?
Yeah. And they're through overgrazing and shit, the land is starting to get kind of deteriorated. And they're in the like worst part of it. They're poor. But Eric, young man, meets a nice young lady, and her father's rich and owns like most of the land on Iceland.
Okay.
Wow.
So they get married, and he gets himself a nice little homestead in a place called like the Valley of the Hawks.
Awesome name.
Yeah.
We need more names like that.
They start farming. They're doing all right for themselves. They got a couple of thralls. Thralls are slaves.
Good times all around.
Where are the slaves descended from? Just like native, like Icelandic peoples?
No, there are no native Icelandic peoples.
Oh, so no one was living there.
Yeah, the
Vikings
The Vikings are the
take
first
slaves.
human beings on Iceland.
Okay.
Vikings don't just take like
So they took,
materials,
like-
they take slaves.
They're like raid. You know, the Vikings are doing raids.
Yeah.
They're probably like British people
Yeah.
or some Frenchmen, and they've been brought to the north to live as thralls, right? So something happens where one of his thralls causes an avalanche,
Oh, shit.
and it ends up damaging his neighbor's house.
An avalanche?
Yeah,
What the fuck was
Some,
the guy doing?
Like walking, probably yodeling,
What a fuck up.
that is a big fuck up.
walking around on a mountaintop yelling.
Oh no! Drops like one log and just takes out half a village. Like, oh my god.
So he damages this guy's house, and in a fit of rage, the guy whose house got damaged, he kills the thrall,
He kills a slave.
kills the slave.
Yeah.
Now, you got to understand, these slaves are thought of as
Property.
property. They're
yeah.
nothing.
It'd be like if
Right.
I went to your house and killed your pet.
Right.
Or killed his slave.
Eric gets mad. I don't have any slaves. Eric gets mad at this
You don't say.
and goes and murders his neighbor.
Rightfully so.
And the Vikings look at this as like murdering your neighbor over him like keying your car. You know?
Again, I'm on this guy's side.
So they exile him. They exile him to a place called Oxney, which is a tiny island off the coast of Iceland.
Okay.
So he's starting another life again now in this third part of the world, right?
This guy's like, everybody hates me.
He's got like this tool, right? That has like rune carves in it, and like it's considered like magical and sacred.
Okay.
It's a valuable thing. He loans it to his neighbor on this island. And the guy is like, I'm not giving it back to you. So Eric murders him and his sons.
Again, I'm on this guy's side.
Wait, he killed his sons too?
Yeah. So now he's got to leave.
Yo,
again.
you gotta kill the whole family tree, or else they'll want
They'll
vengeance.
come out for revenge. I know. I get it.
Have you ever borrowed something from someone and not given it back?
I have like a collection of Super Nintendo games that were gotten by borrowing from little kids in the neighborhood and not returning.
Little kid bartering. Bartering as a child is hysterical. You always get like crazy nonsense.
So
I've been playing Donkey Kong Country 3 for decades.
with someone else.
Someone else's game. Yeah.
Imagine that dude showed up and was like,
Can I have this back?
or I'm going to kill you.
It's funny you say that. We have a mutual friend. His name is Mike. He let me borrow Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Great
Okay.
game.
Probably around 1999, 2000.
Okay.
I've had it for over 20 years. He called me up like last year and asked for it back, and I had to give it back.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That makes me so happy. You gave it to him?
20
I was so
years?
mad.
That's so good.
I was so mad
You
because and I
deserved
had
it.
no right to be mad. Or I never liked the stand.
You're not gonna
But I was
play
like,
it.
it's mine.
I've had it for so long.
It was never yours. You're the guy who gets killed for stealing the rune.
He called me up and he's like, I'm coming over and I'm getting that.
Mike should have just walked in and killed you and everyone else.
And then he sold it. He
Yeah,
sold
of course. Mike is a comedic genius
He's hilarious.
because he knew what he was doing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So while all this is happening on these islands, right? He hears a story of a guy. I have his name written down. Hold on. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Like a Norse fisherman guy.
Okay.
Who got blown off course in a rainstorm and saw what looked like land far to the west. Mm-hmm. So he's like, this sounds like an opportunity. and I've been exiled from everywhere
I have nowhere
I've ever
else
been.
to go.
So him and his family, they get on a boat, and they're like, we're sailing west. We're going to see what the fuck's out there. So they sail 700 miles
They fell
over open water.
They fell off the cliff of the earth then, right?
They did not fall off the cliff of the earth. And they are the first, I guess, second Europeans to ever see Iceland. And what they realized, Greenland, sorry.
I gotcha.
Greenland is, at least on its east coast, is nothing but a giant ice sheet.
Yeah.
So they actually follow the coastline south and came around to the west end. On the west end, there's about 350 square miles of habitable land, like good for farming, and it's a good place for a colony.
Wow.
So they're like, jackpot.
This is it.
This is it.
Wow.
So he goes back to Iceland, and he starts rounding up people for a colony. Now, remember I told you that Iceland was this was a bad time.
Yeah, it
for
wasn't
them.
doing good.
Yeah, so there were enough people that were desperate enough to throw down everything
They're like, fuck it.
and go with him.
Let's go with this guy. We just better not
And
fuck
he
up.
gets like 400 men, well, families, to go and colonize Greenland. So he sets up this colony.
Are they aware of how cold it's going to get?
Well, it's funny you mention that. This is actually what's known as the medieval warm period. Have you ever heard of that?
No, not really, but I can figure out what it is.
Well, it's a period in Earth's history that's actually was warmer than it is today for a large period of time.
Al Gore would be very upset.
This is stuff that they don't want you to know about.
Yeah.
There was a time not that long ago in the grand scheme of things where the Earth was actually slightly warmer than it is right now. This was followed up by something called the Little Ice Age.
And then there was global cooling,
It
but yeah.
fluctuates naturally.
So it was actually a good time to be in the North.
Okay.
And they start a pretty successful colony that lasts a couple hundred years. So here's what goes down. Eric becomes, king shit in Greenland.
I'm the ruler, yeah.
Yes. But he is completely dependent on what's happening in Norway, which is obviously thousands of miles away, because their main thing that they do is they export ivory from walruses.
Really?
Yeah. So
I guess that's valuable.
yeah, they hunt the walruses and sell the ivory, and it's like their trade.
Well, they use it as oil, right? Like oil lamps. It's usually
No, ivory's like the tusks. They're like a valuable commodity.
Yeah, but I thought they extract like the oil from that.
I'm sure they use stuff
They
like
take that from the blubber.
They
usually.
hunted a lot of
the
seals.
blubber, yeah.
There was one thing I was looking up about this. They said that they realized there were this one type of seal that were very abundant, but they didn't hunt them. They were smart enough to not hunt them because they realized they'd hunt them to extinction. But there was this other species of seal called the harp seal that were way more of them. There was no chance of that, so they exclusively would hunt those and eat them.
That's
and they leave
smart.
the other seals alone.
And let them build up.
Yeah.
Conservation, early conservation. That's good.
So
We
he sends
care
Leaf.
about the planet.
He sends Leif, his son, back to Norway to like strike deals with the king in
Go
Norway and
barter.
stuff. Right. And the new king of Norway is a Christian, newly converted.
Well, he gets back and he's like, when the hell did this happen?
There's just a monumental church.
He's like
just
David in
confused.
Back to the Future.
So when Leif returns to Greenland, he brings with him a priest because the king of Norway has demanded that the colony be converted. So Eric does not like this, and they say before he died, he was like the last guy to convert.
Okay.
And he like didn't really. He never really.
He
like,
did it in name.
Believed in it. Leif Erikson will go on his epic journey to Vinland, which is Canada, before his father died. And he actually wanted his father to go with him, but he was too old and didn't
Too
take
weak.
the trip. The Greenland colony. Now this is interesting. It lasts until like the 1420s, 1430s. So it's got a good 400 years
That's a
of
good
life
run.
in it. In that time, the Little Ice Age will start. Things start to get cold.
Bad time to be in Greenland.
Yeah. It vanishes. We don't know what happened. They just
Aliens.
lose contact with it one day. Some people say that they
Moved west.
fell in with the Inuit who were in the area. Some people say they just died off. There are records of like church services happening up to a certain point, and then they just stop. The last thing that ever happened, like that we know about, is a wedding that
Really?
happened, on the island. But I heard this story and I thought it was pretty cool. So in 1540, this is over 100 years after the colony has been gone, that they've lost contact with it. A Norwegian ship heading for Iceland gets caught in a storm, just like what happened with the fishermen earlier. And they get blown and blown and blown.
Just coming all over the place. The hell were you expecting saying something like that?
He knew what he was doing.
They find shelter finally, way off course, in Greenland.
Okay.
They end up on this beach.
And they have to watch the Gerard Butler movie, Greenland.
That's
Gerard
a
Butler
movie?
Yeah, it came out like last year. I think it's like the world is ending for some bullshit. It's like one of those Roland Emmerich movies.
Oh, like Independence Day?
Yeah, shit like that. Like the world is ending.
Independence
What's
Day,
that
too.
movie, 12 Days? 2012. I was going to say 12 Days of Christmas.
The tectonic plates are all fucking going crazy. Yeah.
So yeah, this ship, it ends up in Greenland. And while they're sitting in like this cove, they see on the beach a dead man.
Greenland, real quick, is about a comet coming towards Earth, and it's going to hit it and destroy the planet. And I'm assuming
It's going to hit Greenland?
that the asteroid is the size of Greenland.
That's pretty big.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So they see this dead guy on the beach, and they go and investigate him, and he's clad in seal skin. And they assume that he's one of the local Eskimo Inuit guys. But they flip him over, and
You know who else loves sealskin?
Who?
Heidi Klum. Because she was married to him for a while. She loves sealskin.
Baby!
He was kissed by a rose on the grave, really.
And did you know?
When it snows.
Did you ever see pictures of like seal clubbing?
Yeah, he's...
It looks violently fun.
They flip him over, he's got red hair, and he's a white guy.
And they're like, what?
And they're like, what the fuck? He shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
So he was one of them. He's a Norseman. So there may have been something still happening long after they lost contact. And that is the Greenland colony.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes.
What?
What do you think happened? What do you personally think happened?
I think the people, I think overwhelmingly most of them must have just abandoned it and moved elsewhere. And there was probably like a few people still living, like, because they didn't want to leave for whatever reason. And they just died out.
Were there any
know?
like remains found?
There's ruins. There's like
ruins, right?
the town is there. You know, I think there was 2 different settlements.
There's all that remains.
Yeah.
There's the band, yeah.
Yeah. So how did people get back to Greenland?
They sail. You know, they got
No, but,
Vikings.
like-
They got long ships.
But that I'm talking about after this, like, because we know Greenland, like, people live there now.
the Danish government like went there and
Claimed it.
they're like, this is ours. We colonized it because you know it's all tied
Their clogs
with
and
their
stuff.
people.
Yeah.
And today almost no like Danes live there. It's almost entirely populated by like the local Inuits.
Did you ever see those blonde
but they
Eskimo people?
No. Are they Vikings descendants?
No, they're like light-haired Inuits. Like they're like really.
Are you talking about the
Are they like good
the
looking?
Sami?
Yes. That's what
Oh,
I'm thinking
yeah,
of.
I've seen
Aren't
Sami.
they Greenland?
No, they're in Scandinavia.
Oh, okay. I got it. I'm sorry. I messed
The
up.
Sami live in the extreme north of like Norway, Sweden, Finland, Russia, and they are a weird like they look very Native American.
They got
but
good
they are
folk.
Europeans.
They got good folk music.
Yeah,
They're really interesting.
very strange people. Yeah.
Would you live amongst the Sami if you could?
I've seen some of the Sami women. I'm gonna say
Some of them are
yes.
hot. Yeah.
Yeah. Being a Sami don't look that bad.
You also like the cold, so you
There
you
is
fit right in.
there's a movie that Ulver did the soundtrack for.
The band.
Yes, Ulver is a
gotta say it.
experimental slash
Nobody,
black metal
not many
slash.
people know this. If you watch The
Do you
Sopranos,
still consider
you know.
them a black metal band?
For 3 albums, they were. That's
Okay.
it. Their first 3 albums, they were a black metal
an
band. That's what they're
experimental.
most famous for.
Experimental
But ever
band.
since then, they've been interesting experimental music.
Yeah, The Sopranos.
Their posters featured in Meadow Soprano's bedroom.
Yeah.
Why do you think they put that there?
I think whoever was writing
Cast
for the
member.
show
Yeah.
loved Ulver and put up Nathan's
Yep.
Magical
Just
on the
some
wall.
black metal dude like writing or working on.
Put
the show.
that up on the screen.
'Cause it doesn't. It doesn't fit.
No, Meadow would never be listening to Ulver.
It doesn't fit with the other posters.
Could you imagine if they had on the show like one scene? where
Meadow was listening to Nathan's Magical, for anyone who doesn't know, is one of the most brutal albums ever made. I own it. I love the band.
Wasn't it like
I
Made
have
in
only
the
listened to that album one time because it's too brutal and I don't like it.
Isn't it just people screaming in the woods?
Yes. They recorded it on the worst possible recording equipment ever in the woods. It sounds horrendous,
Yeah.
but it is the most true black metal
imagine
there
Meadow
is.
Soprano being
Valid point.
like all like Italian. She's like, I love fucking black metal.
Battles in the North, Immortal.
So let's go a little black metal nerdy here.
Yeah,
For a
sure.
quick moment, not too long.
Okay.
But I listened to Mayhem,
Right.
which is, you could also say, like,
Legendary stuff.
legendary.
Yes.
that
I
is
want to do the
strict.
movie with them.
Oh, we could definitely
yeah, we
do
could
it.
do
There's
that.
like 2 movies out
Yeah.
for them. But it's traditional. It is the most brutal black
Yeah.
metal.
Made by murderers.
Made by murderers. The over black metal is more brutal than that.
I think so.
I'm giving you a
that
guarantee it
particular
is.
album. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if for those of you who may not know Over but Mayhem, it's more brutal than that.
Shadows in the Sun is a good like non-black metal over album.
Shadows of the
Shadows
Sun,
is amazing.
Yeah.
it's
But that's
It's
so far removed
experimental.
I know,
from what
I
we're
know.
talking about.
Yeah. Anyway,
Anyway, what the whole point I brought up Over was they did the soundtrack for a movie called Svetnegar, which is a movie about a black kid in Norway who goes and lives among the Sami.
really?
Yes.
Wow.
Okay.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
You saw the movie?
I've seen clips of it. I have the soundtrack.
I wanna
The
watch the
soundtrack's
movie.
amazing.
I wonder if it's based on a real story.
Wildcat. Play it, guys.
Is it based on a real story?
I don't think so. It might be. I don't know. Maybe.
If it is,
We can do it on the show.
hey, might be the lowest viewed one we do.
For some reason, we're really popular in Norway this week.
They did another soundtrack called Riverhead.
Don't the Dutch love us? So
Yeah, we're
not
big.
too far off.
We're big in Amsterdam.
We're good. Yeah, people love us there.
Amsterdam.
I'm New York.